Hello everybody, I'm Soumya Murthy. I'm making this video to discuss about the pattern of agricultural variations and how there is a regional development happening. This is one of the papers in agricultural economics. So let's see what is the regional agricultural disparity that we see. It has been a very serious issue or a problem in India, and reduction of regional imbalance is one of the key challenges of agricultural development in India. So Indian agriculture has witnessed tremendous changes during the last 4 decades, and technology was initially adopted on a large scale in the region well endowed with irrigation. So we have discussed about irrigation and how changes being brought about because of this. So we see this happening in the last 4 decades, and also technology has also contributed to bring in some changes. So we see the greenhouse crops, both vegetables, flowers are grown by this method, and in regions having no soil or extremely infertile soil, and when there is favorable climate or hydroponic techniques have been used, it has been very useful to grow some of these crops. So basically you can use these hydroponic techniques in coral islands also. So we usually see the greens grown in this hydroponics where all your greens like palak and your corianders are being grown, which has been quite useful. So they just make use of water and some nutrients being sprayed to it. We don't make use of the soil at all. So various agricultural regions of India that we see, Indian, soil pattern, crop pattern are all very different because we have different, climatic conditions and practices that we follow for crop. And the kind of association we have with crops is very unique and different. So let's see how we define this agricultural region. So an agricultural region is defined as an area having homogeneity in relief, soil types, climatic conditions, farming practices, crops produced, and also the crop association. So India is a vast country which is endowed with diverse geographical conditions which are bound to bring in regional variations in agriculture. So now we'll try to categorize areas into different parts so that we will be able to see what areas, what kind of crops or fruits are grown. So one of the classification that we see is the rice, jute and tea region. So this vast region includes lowlands, valleys, river deltas. So this is found in the states of Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Tripura, Meghalaya, West Bengal, Orissa, northern and eastern Bihar parts of Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh and Uttar Pradesh. So rice is the predominant crop, and due to fertile alluvial soil, abundant rainfall and even in high summer temperatures we are able to grow crops. So this region is popularly, very popular in terms of growing jute or rice or even tea cultivation. So a lot of tea estates and other aspects are very famous in these areas. So tea is mainly grown in Assam, Darjeeling, Jalpaiguri areas of West Bengal and Tripura. So sugarcane, tobaccos are grown in Bihar. Coconut again is grown in the coastal areas. Mango, pineapple, betel leaves, bananas, jackfruits, oranges are the main fruit crops. So we know there is a huge demand for the alphonsos or the certain breeds of mangoes, and there is a demand for the beetle leaves. We also know certain varieties of bananas or jackfruits have a huge market. So this all can be grown here with main multiple cropping facilities available to the farmers. So moving on to the wheat and sugarcane regions. This region comprises of Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, Western Madhya Pradesh, northeastern Rajasthan, and most of these areas have rich, fertile alluvial soil. And there are some parts which have black soil as well as the red soil. So this stretch has red soil as well as black soil, and they have very fertile alluvial soils. So here rainfall is moderate, and large part of this area is receiving southwest monsoons in summer. So some rainfall is caused by western disturbances in winter. So this region is dominated by wheat and sugarcane cultivation. So the main wheat belt of India extends over Punjab, Haryana, Ganga, Yamuna, and northeastern Rajasthan. So we know how the wheat production saw huge rise in terms of the quantity produced because of the Green Revolution. So these stretch of areas, the farmers became rich and they had a huge production, and farming became the main source of income to the people. Sugarcane again is mainly grown in Uttar Pradesh and contiguous parts of Bihar. Rice pulses, maize, and other important crops are also grown in these areas. Now, moving on to the cotton region, we know Indian cotton is very famous. There's a huge market for the cotton products of India. So, the region where we grow cotton, it's spreads on the rigor, the black cotton soil areas of Deccan Plateau. And when we see the rainfall here, it is varying from 75 centimeters to 100 centimeter. So obviously cotton is the main crop here, but jowar, bajra, grams, sugarcane, wheat, etc. are also grown in these regions. Now we move on to the maize and coarse crop regions. When we look into the western Rajasthan, northern Gujarat, are all included in these regions, and the rainfall is very scanty and is normally below 50 centimeters. So we know we are moving towards the desert parts of India. So Rajasthan has very less rainfall, and here we see that the rainfall is normally below 50 centimeter. So agriculture is possible only with the help of irrigation. So it's not that you don't have rainfall, you're not having any produce at all, but we're trying to provide agricultural crops some form of water supply through irrigation. So maize is mainly grown in the Mewar Plateau, where wheat and ragi are also produced. The southern parts include rice, cotton, and sugarcane. They are also grown, and bajra and pulses are also grown throughout the region. So we move on to the millets and oilseeds region. As we know, the millets are having high nutritional value. There is a huge demand for the millets and the recent the value attached to the foods associated with millets is bringing a lot of importance to the production of millets and variety of millets to be grown, and there's a huge demand and market, especially in terms of organic farming. We find that millets has its own place, and there is a huge demand, and there is a big market for the farmers who are basically into production of or growing of millets. So this region, it includes areas of poor soils and broken topographies in Karnataka Plateau, parts of Tamil Nadu, southern Andhra Pradesh and eastern Kerala. So the rainfall here varies from about say 75 to 125 centimeter. So the millets here include the bajra, ragi and jowar. We all know how ragi is a staple food for people in Karnataka. So this has rich calcium and nutrients attached to ragi, making it one of the primary millet consumption in the area. Again, oil seeds are grown, and we have groundnuts and castor seeds produced. Pulses are also grown. Mangoes and bananas are the important fruit crops that we see happening in this region. So we see that it is even producing rice. We have rice, we have pulses, we have fruits, we have millets growing in these areas, and even the farmers have a huge market for the produce they have created. Moving on to fruits and vegetable region. Now we know that there are certain products which are very famous. We know that basically certain oranges or apples or cherries are produced in certain parts of India. So this region extends from the Kashmir Valley in the west to Assam in the east. So we see that extending from Kashmir to Assam, we find that the rainfall is varying from say 60 centimeter to about 200 centimeters in the east. So they grow apple, peaches, cherries, plum, apricot. All these are grown in the west, while oranges is very important in the east. Apart from that, we find that there is rice, maize, ragi, potato, chilies, and vegetables are also grown in these areas. So more importance may be given to certain fruits which are a rich source of income to these farmers. They have huge plantations here. Apart from that, they also grow rice, maize, ragi, potato, etc. So let's summarize what we have studied. We look into the various aspects of the soil fertilities that is available in India, the kind of rainfall it receives, so what kind of crops or what kind of fruits or what kind of vegetables could be grown in these areas. So we categorized into different aspects. So we categorized as fruits, so we categorized them as rice belt or areas which grew wheat. So basically we're just trying to see how Indian regional disparity is in a way added to production of different aspects. So it's not that we're just only producing rice or only wheat or only cash crops or only fruits. There is a mixture of everything based on the fertility of the soil, availability of the soil, or maybe availability of the rainfall. We are able to harvest the crops, and as I discussed, millets are having a huge demand, and there is a lot of organic farming into this. So the farmers are producing a variety of items which are in great demand in the market. So this is added advantage to the Indian farmers, wherein regional disparity has contributed to growth of agriculture. So it gave me immense pleasure to make this video. I hope my students would enjoy looking into this video for agricultural economics. Thank you.